I need support. Just hold my mind.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi.
I'm glad we did the live stream before.
Yeah.
So it's not just me coming on.
Yeah. I know, right? I'm glad you're here too, and it's not just you helping me all the time.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a second. I know there were some more people here. I'm really sad, guys. I'm pretty beat up right now. My bruises are being re-bruised. So, when I was talking about Sean, I also got a message from Ryan Shuck. And I was pretty caught off guard by it. And I really wasn't going to talk about Ryan too much because we have a relationship that's in the process of being mended. However, he just did something that I kind of can't ignore. I have to say something just the same way I said I would say something if Sean said or did something, right?
Also, like, it just makes you feel a way, and you should be allowed to say you feel a way about something.
Yeah, I'm literally sharing my opinion here, right? This is my perspective. It's my truth. And I don't have to like everything. I don't like gray days. I don't like the way that the people in Chester's life, like Ryan and Sean, can interact.
I personally don't like how a lot of people get to say their opinion on what's going on and share how they feel about the things that they're saying. But because Jamie is closely related, is fucking Chester's son,
literally,
that they would be taken more seriously. And so I feel like they're being targeted by the people profiting off of Chester's passing currently, and now they're not even able to express themselves. Now everything they do is crazy, not everything they do is out of the loop, but like literally what we were saying last time was everyone around Chester who's profiting off of Chester won't tell Jamie anything of what's going on, so they don't know what's going on, and they only know what people tell them, and then they're getting dragged by the other people like, you only know this side, and it's like, of course I only know that side, so let's have the conversation.
Yeah,
actually take time to have the conversation instead of just sending petty messages that you're crazy, get help. Like, be the help. Stop telling people get help, be the help. Like, that's insane to me.
I agree. And in specific, I have to read this message because I have to explain a number of things that have been passed around and used against me.
Also, like, bullying is not cool. Name calling is not cool. Why do all these adults keep feeling like they can text Jamie calling them names and telling them things that they don't know either? Like,
and look, I say names, right? I'll say you're a bitch or whatever, right? Because that's how I feel. But I'm also bringing up evidence as to like what I'm talking about. I'm not just going off about nothing. I'm not just saying, well, Sean's mean because I feel that way. I'm saying Sean's mean. I have real experience with this person. Let me explain. And
so it's called personality, like being snarky, being like, like these things are really serious, and they're trying to process it and express it the way that they can, and the way that they speak is by saying things like that, like, oh my god, what a bitch, you know, like, who doesn't say shit?
I know for a fact that everyone in Chester's life, quote, uses names. Like, I'd be joking about something with Ryan, and he'd be like, oh, fuck you, you know? It's a joke, right? It's something that's not so serious. It's communication, it's expression. But whenever I do it, it seems like the whole freaking forest has to be set on fire because something bad happened. And it's like, what happened?
But when it benefits you, suddenly it's not a joke, and suddenly legality comes into play. And...
yeah. So I have to read this. All right? I don't want to. I want to be very clear. This was meant to be between me and my uncle. But then he had to write this. And it's triggering. and it's unfair, and it's rude. He said, Jamie, I do not want to talk to you unless you agree to seek professional psychiatric help and are dedicated to getting better, which I would argue is exactly what I've done and what I'm doing. And I keep saying that actually, word for word, whenever I get online.
Also, like, it's, we talked about our views on professional help and how we didn't even have the finances to do so. And it'd be great if people then offered that and helped participate in gauging a certain view of it. If that's something you want somebody to do, then help them feel better about doing it instead of making them feel like shit in order to go do the thing.
Yeah, it's called coercion.
But
using force to make someone go do something and making someone feel bad about something or believe something that's not true so that they go do something that you feel is more appropriate is still coercive control, in my opinion.
At least it feels that way.
It feels that way. It certainly feels that way.
Yeah.
Then he says, it appears that you currently think that there is nothing, quote, wrong with the way you are acting, meaning my online presence and my form of communication, which is direct. I don't know if you've noticed, but I will just tell you to your face how I feel.
Also, like, everyone acts different, like, wrong or right. Who's to say what's wrong and what's right? For sure, you can have rules of how you want someone to act around you. You're definitely entitled to that. Then tell somebody not to interact with you, and then don't look at their stuff. But
don't refuse to respond to me for a very long time and then offer this as the only thing you have to say. We're going to talk about wrong and right here in a second because it has to do with this situation. He says then, I did not say or do any of what you are accusing me of. I did not say anything like that to blank. Neither did Amir. We worked with them and believed in them until they decided to start working with someone else. Nothing you say or do makes any sense to me.
It wouldn't, because you don't know Jamie. You don't know what they're going through.
You don't know what's going on.
You don't know their perspective. You haven't asked. Also, of course, they're talking about the perspective they know. Someone came to talk to them about their perspective on something. So yeah, they're going to talk to you about that perspective. Of course, they're not like, I know how you feel in this situation. Yeah. They were like, hey, I heard this thing and I want to talk to you, uncle.
Yep. And that's where we'll get into the conversation of right and wrong, because I actually had that very same conversation with myself when I talked to Ryan about this particular thing. And I had that conversation with the person we're talking about. But anyways, I do not have time for this kind of harassment in my life. I am a new father, and I view this as a threatening behavior towards me and my family. Yeah, because me and my family don't matter.
Also, like, threatening, like, you just coming out speaking your opinion is so threatening. Also, why? If it's harming your mental, don't look at it. You don't have to participate.
You have a choice.
You haven't participated in how long? And all of a sudden, Jamie feels comfortable now, expressing themselves again, is finally finding their place, willing to speak out about things. It's been so long, like, trying to help Jamie build back their ability to speak about how they feel on things, because they feel so disheartened and so bogged down, like they're not allowed to say anything on anything they feel. And we just got to the point where Jamie was like, wait, I can talk about things that I want to talk about. And I was like, yes, you can talk about things.
Because I literally can't. I don't feel like I can.
That's what I'm saying, is like, things like this don't help. Things like this don't help. People who aren't willing to listen but want to come at you like they know what's going on and accuse you of not knowing what's going on is crazy. Yeah. Like, saying like, I didn't do any of the things you're accusing me of. You don't. What is Jamie accusing you of? They just said that, in their opinion, you were a sellout because of certain things you're doing, and the way that you're profiting off of their dad's death. Won't talk to them about how they're feeling, about how they're doing, but then you're willing to go make a profit, you know?
Which, like, by the way, they only responded to the sellout post. They didn't respond to anything else that I had said to them, which is what they're alluding to in this conversation, this thing that we talked about or that I said. This is not in response to what I said. This is in response to the sellout post. Yeah. Sean Dowdell did not meet me in the eyes for over a year after he threatened to enact physical violence against me for calling him out as a gaslight. Okay? That's the only time that Sean responded to me, is when I called him a sellout. These two people are coming at me right now only because I called them sellouts this morning.
They share their opinion that they feel that they're a sellout.
Which I still feel. And you're not going to change that.
Everything's an opinion, everything's a feeling. Damn.
So this last little blurb here says, this will serve as my final warning before taking legal action to protect myself. I need to walk through this with you now because there are many things in this message that are things that I have been talking about with regards to how people treat me, how people see me, and how people interact with me. In my opinion, being treated and being interacted with are totally different things.
Someone said, make sure you're safe. And I just want to
please
emphasize, there's no way to make sure any of this is safe.
It's not safe.
Nothing is safe here because no one knows what's going on. Everyone likes to pretend like they do. Everyone's just going to call Jamie names and say stuff like that's what we were talking about in the first place. Like, it's hard to be willing to communicate and be feeling like we can communicate and express our feelings and get it out there and like actually be able to process it in the first place, because so many people around us do have money and are willing to use legality to silence other people. They
love it. And they love doing it.
It's very hard. Like, that's what we were saying. Like, even physical safety is always something in our minds because that's never insured. No matter what we're doing, even when we were living on the road, minding our own business, not saying anything, we were still like, bro, any of these people could come for us just because Jamie texted them like, oh, hey, brother, hey, uncle, hey, sister, like, I'm feeling away, you know? Like, nobody's safe. Like, you can go walk down the street, something can happen. Safety is not insured anywhere you're at. So why would then we stay silent if it's not insured if you're silent or not? We can only express ourselves the way that we're able to express ourselves, and the way that we're able to express ourselves depends on how we're able to communicate and who's communicating with us. How are we supposed to change our perception and our dialect and everything else if no one's actually willing to have that conversation, give us information that we supposedly don't know anything about?
That was actually my point too in the Sean discussion about the information that I don't know about, and how everybody likes to tell me, you don't know anything, Jamie. Yes, that's what I was saying about Sean, is that he specifically sat on information that validated.
They told Jamie that. They said.
Well,
he
told
hey,
me. I mean, I can't really
information. Know. Everyone that Jamie comes to talk to, they're like, hey, I have all this information you'd probably want to hear. Hey, I have all these stories about Chester you probably want to hear. Yeah. And then they ghost Jamie. And then, even they'll be like, hey, I'm going to share them with you. Just text me. And then Jamie's like texting them like, hey, bro, I would love that phone call. Ghosted. And being like, hey, this is a super serious situation. You need to know these things. Ghosted. The family, Jamie being like, hey, I don't remember a lot of my history. I have a lot of mental things I'm trying to go through, and I'm trying to realign. I'm trying to re-engage myself in my being, and I would love to have these conversations and get to know some things that are happening. Ghosted. Doesn't want to talk to you. Tells you a certain story. You bring up the story later. They tell you you're wrong and making things up and delusional, and it's like, bro, you can't win. You can't win. All you can do is fucking talk about what you know, which is what we were just saying. That's literally what we've been saying. What we came out a year ago saying. And it was just...
Well, actually, technically, I didn't say what you said. And I didn't.
No, I know.
I didn't.
What I've been saying.
What they've been saying. I didn't say that for them. I didn't have them do that. They chose that. Period. Anyway,
because it's ridiculous.
It
is.
It's
harmful. Like, everyone wants to come out and say, like, oh, you need mental help. You need mental help. You're not helping. Last time I came on and I said all these things don't help. All the family and all the people who are profiting off of their Chester's death and not deciding to speak to you, not deciding to engage with you, not deciding to even have the smallest interactions, or even tell you like, hey, I don't want to communicate. That all adds up. How many people have to turn away from you and ghost you and tell you they know things that you could benefit mentally from? How many people tell you they're going to be there for you and then disappear before it would get to you? Like, you guys keep telling Jamie they're crazy because they're crazy, but like, think about how your actions are affecting them. Nobody wants to think about that. Everyone just keeps coming and name calling them and telling them a bunch of things of who they are and what they are without actually knowing who they are and what they are, and then being like, oh, that should be fine. Like,
no, they genuinely think it should be fine.
Like,
I didn't even get one warning. I didn't get one warning from Ryan, but his last words are, "This will serve as my final warning before taking legal action to protect myself." Protect yourself against what? I called you out for doing a show with Gray Days.
Or Jamie shared their opinion on how they felt.
I said you're a sellout because that's how I felt about seeing you two together. Period.
They were like, damn, my uncle hasn't talked to me and they've been leaving me on red even though they know I'm struggling.
Yeah.
But they're out here now going to join Sean's band, who I said physically threatened me. And also is holding information that they said would be valuable to me against me because I spoke about how they treated me, these grown men.
Yeah. No, literally. I need to walk through this because there's a big narrative. And I said this when Elka went wild on Twitter and started telling people that I am beyond help and she's done everything she can. No, literally Sean and Ryan both today said you need to get professional psychiatric help.
Also, like,
Why? Why is that a narrative in the close circle of my own family that I need that kind of help?
I'll tell you why, because nobody is willing to understand your perspective or even understand your autistic traits and your BPD traits. Like, no one actually understands what's going on and cares to understand what's going on, cares to see you how you are. They want you to settle. They want you to be this mold.
They want docile.
It's just like, putting kids... I always relate things to school, but it's just like putting kids in school and being like, sit down for 8 hours or you're a bad kid. And it's like, but kids are not meant to sit down for 8 hours. You're meant to think about things that are going on in your life. You're meant to ask questions. You're meant to have people around you who are willing to talk to you about these things, who are willing to support you through these things. But Jamie doesn't. And also, they don't know what's going on with Jamie. They see all these things as sporadic. Oh my God, you're on something. But it's like, that's literally how Jamie is at base level. They wake up and they're just energized.
They already know that because I woke up and I said it's early, but I'm talking about Sean.
I know. That's what I'm saying is like the perception is so skewed from the baseline and everyone feels so entitled to continue bullying you. In my opinion, it's bullying because you're name calling, you're not actually talking to someone and you're telling them to get psychological help without actually acknowledging what they're going through or processing, getting help on your side to understand someone else's mentality.
Yeah. It really makes you wonder how many of these friends of Chester's are actually behind 320 Changes Direction being the change, right? Like, how many of these people...
I wouldn't...
What?
No.
No, I mean, but they were saying... Somebody said down here that somebody was weaponizing mental health, and that's true. Like, you guys are... like, people will tell me that I need to get the help.
Yes,
but
about mental health, but...
But that's what I'm saying, is like, a lot of these friends of Chester's... Sorry, maybe I shouldn't have been so specific. The friends of Chester, they always say... Mental health is number one. We're always looking out for it. They even say, after my dad died, this is very important to think about. But here we are, literally people today.
During Men's Mental Health Awareness
Month. I have two grown men in my DMs telling me that I need psychiatric help. And they're supposed to be family.
And they're not helping with any of that mental stability.
Yeah.
Not helping with any memory, not helping with any feeling of community and love and support. Just come in the DMs to spew some hate.
Harass.
Because Jamie
literally
decided
harass.
to share their opinion on something.
Literally. Okay, so I have to say, the other day, I spoke to someone. They gave me their perspective on their relationship with my uncle, Ryan. And I was disappointed because actually I had gone to Ryan a couple days earlier and said, hey, I'm feeling this way. I saw you watching my stories again, but you have said nothing still. And it's bothering me. And I went through and said something really short. And then I said, you know what? I could articulate that more. And I went through it and I explained how much I love Ryan, how much I respect Ryan, how much how proud of him I am that he has a child, that he has this family, that he got his stuff together. Because the last time I spoke to him, he was trying to do that. In fact, even last time, way back when I started in October, November, I said some stuff about Ryan that was sharp. And then I came back and I said, no, I didn't mean it like that. There's also this entire other side to the situation. And the truth is that I'm really just kind of hurt. But I respect him trying to get his life together the way he wanted to. Here I am saying the same thing. I said it to him in his DMs. He did not respond. He left me on red. No response. And then after I talked to this person, I heard that some unsavory things had happened. And because it's my uncle, and because I now tell people things, when I hear something, I do something. When I see something, I do something, right? I went to Ryan and I said, hey, this is really frustrating that I heard this thing from somebody. And it's frustrating because I always give people the benefit of the doubt. I'm always thinking, well, maybe they're not really like that. Maybe there's a misunderstanding. Maybe something else is going on. And it always comes back to the same things, which is not really. It doesn't seem like that. And do I get to know any different? No, because you don't pick up the phone. And so this is how I have to communicate with you. So I'm just going to say flat out, I'm just disappointed. I'm disappointed that I once again gave someone in my family the benefit of the doubt, like I did with Sean when I called him to let him know that Concord Publishing was sending information, privileged information, to people they had no reason to send it to. I was looking out for him. It's the same thing I do for everyone. And with Ryan, I did the same thing. And this was only a couple of days ago. So for him to say that this is his final warning, for him to say that I'm unhinged and that what I'm doing is wrong, for him to tell me to get psychiatric help, to tell me that he won't talk to me unless I submit to institutionalization, is very painful and very hurtful. Never mind the fact that he wants to make it a legal problem. A legal problem? It's not a threat to your well-being. What, you mean your income? I called you a sellout. I didn't threaten you. I didn't harass you. I left you so many messages because I don't know where to stop, because I often end up being in people's voice mailboxes trying to talk to them and they don't respond to me at all. Like, you could have just said, I don't want to talk, period. You could have said it for years now, period. But you didn't. You just come in, look at the stories, and you walk away. And I actually said to Ryan, I said, you know, I'm more disappointed than anything about what I'm hearing right now from people around you, about you, because you're supposed to be a father now. And I thought that it might be a little bit more of an intuitive thing to treat people with respect, to understand how your actions and your words impact another person. Like, look at me over here, trying to talk to you, and you're literally refusing to acknowledge that I exist. Period. That's what I said. It's not harassment. I didn't harass him. In fact, I think the last thing I said to him was, I don't really want to talk. Here's my number if you do. And I gave him my number, which I can literally show you guys right now. But I won't, because that's not the point. The point is that he said something that was just so crazy and so actually affecting. Like, I could get in trouble. If he decides he wants to press legal action against me and pose charges against me, I have to take it. And for it to be a threatening thing, I didn't threaten anybody. What I said was, I respect you. I'm sorry I spoke harshly about you before. Let me explain myself. Then you left me on red, and then I came back with a story from someone else who I didn't even expect to talk to. And this brings me to the conversation of right and wrong. I talked to that person. At first, I was like, no, it's my thing to deal with. Don't worry about it. I was wrong. I should have asked. I wanted for people's reactions to what I was going through to be what I just went through for them, right? I saw somebody went through something with my family, and I said, I'm going to go handle that. I should have asked. It was a little disrespectful in that regard, but it is my responsibility at the same time. So I'm learning lessons too, right? I've never been able to communicate like this, right? So, trial and error. I talked to this person. They have not responded to me yet about how they feel. And I'm not going to say who it is, because that's not the point. The entire point actually was to talk to Ryan about this so that unnecessary information and rude and cruel stories being passed around was not a reality. Period. That's what I did. That was the whole thing. It's not harassment. Right and wrong is subjective. And sometimes we go to do things we think are right and they're not entirely respectful or correct. And we do have to take responsibility for that. And I did, and I do, and that's my business. And I even told Ryan, I don't want any of this public. I want it between me and you, because I'm trying to talk to you. And he didn't respond.
Also, though, like, is it right or wrong to acknowledge and feel that someone needs mental help and doesn't have the mental capacity to communicate in a certain way, and then instead of calling them and telling them like, hey, you know, I'm seeing you participate in this manner, I don't know what's going on, but I feel like this is going on and I don't want you to have the wrong idea because I'm hearing what you're saying, I'm actually paying attention, versus coming out and just being like, you're crazy, you're stupid, go get help. Like, if you don't get help, I'm gonna sue you. Like, how hard is it if you're in a mentally stable place to get on the phone with your nephew and tell them, hey, I'm seeing some things that are going on, I hope you're okay, or I really think you would benefit from X, Y, or Z. Maybe we could schedule that. Maybe I'm too busy to do that. Let me get you in contact with people who I do know. Like, offer some kind of actual help rather than just coming at them, bullying them, calling them names, and telling them they're crazy and they need help. Like, does that sound mentally sane to you? Is that right or wrong? Like, no one ever... big portion of people who communicate with Jamie like to neglect their side of things and their own mental capacity in the way that they're talking to Jamie, but expect Jamie to come at them with so much respect. Like, Jamie's already said they have hard feelings around people now profiting off of Chester's death, using Chester's voice, using Chester's songs, and people who, when Chester was alive, weren't nice to them, weren't respectful in certain manners. Also, we don't fucking know your relation, so I'm only talking on what I know.
I'm literally still learning stuff today about Chester's relationship with some of these people.
Yeah.
Who are supposed to be his brothers and his best friends. Which is, you know, to bring up the weaponizing of incompetence and to bring up the weaponizing of mental health again today. The Great A's tour is called #4UChester, guys. They literally took a social movement and turned it into a cover band tour, which Julian K, a band that is Ryan and Amir's, is now joining for multiple shows alongside a Linkin Park cover band. Hello. How am I the crazy one for saying something about that? And what makes it all right to come over and be like, no, you're insane. I'm not going to talk to you unless you are institutionalized. And also, this is my final warning when I haven't even given you one yet.
It's also crazy to be like starting to go on a tour and profiting off of Chester with the name For You Chester while neglecting your family members, like their son, and
like
not
Chester's
helping them.
Firstborn son here.
If you think they need mental help, not helping them, but then going on tour and saying For You Chester and saying how much you appreciate them and how wrong they were did or whatever. I don't know what you guys talk about, TBH. But it does not compute in my brain for people who perceive themselves to be so articulate and so compassionate to share no compassion whatsoever, even in the way that they are trying to say, hey, maybe you need help, you know? And it's like, I've been saying I need help. We've been saying,
I've literally been
it'd
begging.
be great for people to actually be able to communicate and understand Jamie's communication style and be willing to proceed regardless of your internal feelings, like process your internal feelings.
Yeah, why do I got to keep all my emotions intact and in check while you don't have to do that even once?
Okay, we're not going to say even once because we all know them. But like,
well, I'm going to say with my interactions.
Yeah, interactions with you. Like, it's been very plain level, like, oh, you're crazy, oh, you need help, rather than like a compassionate, hey, how are you doing? Or, hey, I'm seeing you're going through this again, same shit. But it's insane to be doing things. It's like someone like nudging you like this the whole time, be like, why are you mad?
Literally, that's what that message is. This is what the
funny.
message is. They want me to go, stop, and freak out. And they want me to fucking throw a punch. But that's not the point. The point is stop fucking shoving me. Like, why are you doing it? Stop doing it. Why are you doing it? And that is the truth. Is like, you know, even with the Dead by Sunrise vinyl, like, sure, you guys can say all you want that it came from the depth of your heart. It's not your band. It's not Ryan's band. It's not Amir's band. It's Chester's solo work. The only time he was able to do it in his entire career because of people like Mike Shinoda, Sean Dowdell, and Ryan and Amir. Period. That's the fucking facts.
Also, I want to say, we understand it's hard times. Making money is fucking hard. Economy is hard. Life is hard. You want to get money where you can, you know? But, like, again, to make it a For You Chester tour and then be ignoring Jamie when they very plain level are in need of help, apparently,
We're here. Yeah.
I don't even, that made me lose my train of thought. But, like, it's crazy to be out there saying you're doing all these things for this person, neglecting this person as well, and then coming out and saying you can or can't say things. Is
like I should like imagine me sending any 4 of those people a message going, "You're harassing me by doing this show. If you don't stop, I'm gonna take legal action against you." Could you imagine that?
I'm saying, like, you're
do you think that would
me.
work? Do you think that would be reasonable?
What I was saying is, we get people need money. We get you're a father and you need to make money somehow. But yes, it is going to feel a way. You're not even, like, trying to understand our perspective or Jamie's perspective of how it might feel for them. And maybe that's why they're talking and able to communicate with you a certain way, which they literally said. They said, hey, you're doing some things that are making me feel a way. I do want to talk to you about it. And I do still understand and respect your father. I understand and respect your time is valuable, blah, blah, blah. But, like, at the same time, you're hurting me. So I want to talk to you about it and see if there's any kind of thing I'm missing, any conclusions we can come to, any, like, middle way. But none of that is on the table. None of that is on the table. It's either ignore them, bully them, call them crazy, or silence them. That's the only reception we've gotten, which is very interesting.
It's telling.
It's very telling.
It's very telling.
Is willing to actually listen to what we're saying and have the capacity to comprehend it past their own perception versus who isn't. And it seems like who isn't has historically been people profiting off of the death and using Chester's name to make money, which is why I said, like, we get you need to make money. We get economy's hard. Everyone out here is working a job, though. Everyone out here is making their own music. Everyone out here is doing their own tours with their own actual things, artistic expression. Making
their own communities.
Everyone out here. You can make a podcast, be like, I feel this way about this thing. You could be like, hey, I just, I'm feeling really hard about this. I feel like Coveries is the only thing I can really do right now to really get through this time. But they're not even extending that kind of communication to Jamie. Like, Jamie's like, whoa, bro, you're profiting off of my dad's death and you're not even talking to me. You're not even talking about anything that's going on. And you're saying for Chester, but you don't even, like, actually, like, if Jamie... I don't know. If I was doing that and Jamie had a problem with it, I'd be like, hey, it's just reasonable. How I can grieve. How I'm grieving right now. I'm so sorry it's coming off that way to you. I'm really not trying to do that. I really do respect what's going on and I really do want to share this kind of thing. Like, that would be a whole different kind of conversation, a whole different perception, a whole different understanding.
That is a conversation.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. A whole
It wouldn't be a different conversation. It would be the conversation had in the first place.
No, it would be a different conversation because the conversation they're giving you is stuff like this.
Is a conversation one-sided?
Sometimes. And
is it a conversation when Sean Dowdell gets into your comments or into your DMs and says, you're a clown, you don't know what you're talking about, literally as you're talking about the thing you know for sure online?
Also, like, you're only talking about what you know, which is what we've been saying, which is what you said you would be talking about. That if people want to clarify and actually give you information so you know what you're talking about, then they could. And no one came out and did that. So, joke's on you. Also, like, you're a clown. You're 40 or 50-year-old man coming into someone's DMs who you think has mental help needs during Mental Health Awareness Month as you're on a tour making money off of their dead father's songs to call them a clown?
Get it.
Well, they're making their own art, but you can't. Interesting.
It's not even your own art.
I said your art, but they can't make their own art.
No, yeah, sorry. What I meant to say is it's not even Sean's music. Sorry, that's what I meant to say.
I'm sure it's partly, because they're in the band, it's partly, and, like, they have every right to fucking do whatever, but to be calling you a clown, to be ignoring you, to be threatening you with physical harm, to be making money off of your father while doing all those things to you and participating in certain conversations the way that they are, It's interesting.
It is
It's
interesting.
definitely a choice, for sure.
It was
Everyone
made.
makes choices. Everyone has the right to make their own choices. But goddamn, we're allowed to have an opinion on the choices you make, same as you to us. But you're not going to do that publicly, because then you would have to admit that you don't know what we're talking about and how we actually feel, because you haven't given us decency to even have one conversation about the thing past your own mental stability.
Could you imagine if Ryan or Sean decided to go online and publicly say, this is what happened, this is not what happened, I want to reach a resolution? How many times have I asked for that? How many times have I said, Sean, I'm going to keep heckling you so fucking hard because you are literally ignoring me. I'm going to keep saying things.
Someone said in the comments, take responsibility, and I thought that was funny because the next part of the message is,
Yeah.
at some point, I hope you grow up and start being accountable for yourself and stop blaming the world for all of your issues, and please get some psychological help, which I think, personally, is very, a sign of the times. Isn't it funny how the world is literally dog shit, how the world treats us like dog
Get
shit,
it?
but we're not
Yeah.
going to be allowed to talk about that.
Get it?
The world is our issue.
Get
like,
it?
what do you mean?
Euphoria is the whole
world
vibe.
for our issue? Stop blaming the world for our issues. I'm put in this world. It creates issues for me. I could just be chilling, living my life free as a bird, but y'all decided to make social constructs that we cannot live without. I have to go to work. I have to present myself in a certain way. I'm only allowed to speak on certain things or else I get put in fucking jail. I'm only allowed to behave a certain way or you get put in fucking jail or you get sued or you get whatever, silenced. But stop blaming the world for issues. Okay. Also, like, you're part of the issue. You're making it worse.
Yeah.
You just don't want to be accountable for that. You don't want to be responsible for someone else's mental health. So you're going to just blame them for their own mental health instead of acknowledging the role you're playing in it. Instead of acknowledging how so many people have been like, hey, this doesn't feel right. This feels icky. Instead of talking about your perception on that and talking to the person about it. And again, the world is insane. Of course, I'm going to say the world is the way it is my issue. The world is my mental issue. I thought it was funny. I had to do this thing where it was like, on 1 to 10, how depressed do you feel? And I was like, a 1 and a 10. 1, because I'm totally fine. Me, myself, and I feel great. I feel fine. I'm able to live. But also a 10, because world is dog shit. People treat people like dog shit. Everyone is made to feel and see things a certain way currently. And if you don't see it that way, then you're taken a certain way and you're talked about a certain way, you're treated a certain way. And it's very sad to see. It's very sad to see the way that things are being played out, the way that people with money get to live versus people without money don't. There are so many things. Like, of course, I'm fucking 10 out of 10 depressed. Yeah. The world is the issue.
Yeah, I agree.
Not helpful.
It's not helpful. And
things like that are not helpful.
Yeah, it's very much so not helpful. And if the roles were reversed in any way, it would not be the same story. I know for a fact there's a power dynamic here. It's a fact that both of these men have money, influence, and affluence. Okay? They have audience. They have a significant investment in the narrative that I'm untangling. I actually, there was a part of Ryan's message that I forgot to mention, which was the fact that they said that I said that something happened between him and this person, but I didn't say that at all. Even my words to him were taken out of context, which is weird because you'd think when he left me on red, he wasn't listening to the messages, but apparently he was. So not only did he see what I had said, but he chose to twist it, and he chose to write about it in a certain way, and he chose to present that thought to me for a certain reason. That's why I said it's kind of like someone taking their hand and just pushing you like this. And just, you wonder why they're doing it. It's because a reaction is what is desired. And this is the reaction I have. I did not build this platform to sit here quietly while I'm bullied by people who have more power and more strength than me, period. You guys have so much power and so much strength, and you are all four of you are irresponsible with it. And that's it's not fully an opinion. I mean, look at it. There was a conversation started when Chester died. How much of the art that you are making, how much of the interaction that you're having is furthering that conversation? How much of it is helping people get better? How much of it is addressing the mental condition that we're all in, why it started, and where it could go?
Also, it's interesting to... A big perception we were receiving before was like, oh, Chester wore themselves out, did all this stuff for the kids. Oh, they really wanted you guys to be good. They wanted you to be set. Mm-hmm. So they worked this hard for their kids. And it's interesting to see people using that work to then make profit and neglect the needs and feelings of the kids.
To silence them.
Yeah, it's very weird. It's very... I don't know, to us it's telling of your perception and where you're coming from and what your intentions were in doing this thing, you know, like for us maybe it's the tism, but it's like if you didn't mean that, why did you say that? And then we're like, hey, why did you say that? And instead them getting defensive instead of being willing to participate in the conversation of like, oh, hey, I said that because da, 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 you know, and letting us understand. What we keep saying is we don't understand. We don't understand why you're doing this. We don't understand why you're doing that and doing this. Like these things just don't make sense to us at the same time. And instead it's you're crazy, da, da, da. And it's like, you could have just told me why or helped me understand the thing. But all right, you do you, bro.
Yeah. And we needed to get on and do this together this time because it's just not okay.
Also, we just gotta talk about how we feel.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we never get to talk about how we feel. Or, like, Jamie barely got, how I said, comfortable expressing how they feel about certain things. And being able to talk about what they're going through. A big part of what I was saying, other people go through, even Chester, like a lot of things now are coming out. Like, oh, well, Chester never said that. Oh, well, they didn't do that. Oh, they never publicly said that. And it's like kicking people in the butt now. And so it's good to talk publicly and share how you feel about certain things so people know what you're feeling. Like, we don't get to talk to anybody. We literally just talk to each other. So
it's a very small circle.
It's great. It's great to be able to share a perception because then you know, like, then it's not, oh, we are in the quiet and other people are out there being like, Jamie's crazy. And y'all don't know Jamie is expressive. Jamie is Jamie trying to talk about things and understand things, but other people perceive it as crazy. For sure, that could be their perception. Everyone has different lives. Everyone has different perceptions. All that we said. There was someone on here who was like, oh, well, I like the music I get. I like everything we can get. That's what I was saying. Okay, it helps you. That's what everyone has, their ways and reasons why they're doing certain things. Jamie feels this way about it. Yeah. I feel this way about it. I feel this way about it mostly because of how it affects Jamie and the way that people are neglecting them and profiting. That's where I come into play and I have hard feelings on. For sure. Because then it all, how we said, it all fires back here. It all fires back to here. So that's also another reason why we had to come and express ourselves and our feelings, because then it's just bottled up and then it's...
Oh yeah, when the energy comes this way, it stays here because there's no outlet. But now I've built an outlet and I will use it, goddammit.
That's what they said. That's what they said last year too. They were like, hey, I've been going through some things and I've been internalizing it and I've processed everything, but it still hurts because it's only with me. I'm only able to talk about it with myself. I would like to be heard. I would like to be understood. I don't want a certain perception of me out there, and I feel like through the things that I've done, people don't actually know who I am and what's going on, and I don't want that to happen. Like, they saw that happen with Chester. They saw how that went. They saw how people talked about them when they passed. Like, why would they want to participate in the same narrative and environment? You know, like, if you have something that's helpful, do it. We said we didn't have resources like mental health stuff, and that this was going to be part of helping them with their mental health. And then they had to take a big break from that, and finally was able to be like, oh wait, I can still share things about myself, so I'm going to do that. And now they're doing it, and now people are again coming at them and trying to bully them off into not being able to say what they feel, which is disgusting to me, but that's just me.
The last thing I'll say is that in an alternative context, constructive one, if Uncle Ryan had come to me and said, hey, I listened to what you said and I'm a bit confused on some things, and also, you know, some of this is a little offensive for me. I don't feel like certain things happened, or I feel like that was miscommunicated and I'd like to tell you what really happened, or no, that's really my business and I just want to leave it at that. You know, I don't think that was a fair assessment of what you heard, or I don't think what you heard was a fair assessment. Could we please like dial it down and talk about this instead? Or I don't really want to talk about this. Any number of possible responses, as long as they had come to me with like, hey, I see what you said. Thank you for trying to communicate with me. Allow me to try to communicate with you. Everything would be totally fine. That would have been simple. But no, I keep saying it out loud. All I need is for these people to just say, okay, I hear you. Let's talk about it. I am always down for conversation. I am always down to change my mind. And I'm always down to apologize. And everybody who actually knows me knows that. There is nothing that anybody who knows me would say different. I guarantee it. Because I do sit down and I think about these things and I do care. And I'll reach out, like with the person we're talking about. I reached out to them a separate time. I had an initial interaction. Then I thought about it throughout the day, and I thought about it with G. And then I went, you know what? I need to talk to them about this. And I said, I'm sorry. I have not done that for anybody before. In my opinion, I would have liked somebody to have done that for me, because I had asked people to do that for me for a long time now, for years, and it hasn't happened. So I saw you and me, or I saw me and you, and I decided to take action because it's my family. Next time I'll do it differently. And I say shit like that. I take time to talk to people like that about things in that way, because you never know where someone's coming from. Where I thought it was the totally right thing to do for somebody else, it was just a little more on the not right thing to do side of things. And that's okay. That's fine. I even told him, I said, you know, if this impacts our relationship, I'm really sorry about that, but I do have to take the bullet. You know, I have to be accountable for my actions. I have to be responsible. I have to grow up and be in the world that I exist in. And so I did that. And that's just who I am. So this is all very frustrating. It's triggering. It's traumatizing. It's also ironic because it is Pride Month. It is fucking Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. It was Father's Day yesterday. Okay? And that's all I have to say about it. If I'm going to be threatened with legal action, then I'm going to have to be vocal about it. If my words are going to be twisted and someone's going to have a narrative about me propagated through their environment, I'm going to have something to say about it. No, you don't get to talk about me rent-free. No, you don't get to do whatever you want. No, you don't get to threaten me. I don't threaten anybody. In fact, most of this public address that occurred in October, November, occurred on the foundation, the principle that this is a free place this is a place that is designed for freedom of expression. That this is me talking to the people in my life the way that I can, because it's the only way I have to talk to them. I wouldn't do half the things I do if I could talk to them one-to-one, but we don't do that, not in this world. And because I'm using the tools available to me to amplify my process of healing from my complex PTSD and other problems, it's now become this massive issue where, oh no, they're too visible, and oh no, they're too loud, and oh no, they're too expressive. And isn't that what the rockstar life is? Isn't that what you guys are all using this product for? Isn't that what these tours are about? Doing exactly what I'm doing?
It's so funny because, like, I was talking to Jamie about Lincoln Park, and they were like, no, they're anti a lot of things, and and I was like, I don't receive that though. I don't. The people don't seem like they're anti, or else they'd be willing to have the conversation. In my head, like, anti is like anti-establishment, anti like bogging people down and making you fit a mold in order to interact and be perceived and people be willing to be a part of you. But it seems like it seems so backwards. Like, I was like, that's not anti though, because that's not what's happening. That's not what the actual people are doing. Instead, they're staying silent. Instead, they're fitting the mold. Instead, they're trying to put you into a mold and make you fit their thing without you getting any clarification, any conversation, any accountability on the
why would I
institutionalize how they made you feel.
What the fuck?
It's so interesting to for me, through everybody, it's interesting to see how people perceive themselves and then what their actions actually are. So that's funny. Also,
does your mental and your action synchronize? Because a lot of the people in this equation say a thing and do another.
Also, people are like, oh, I want you to live. I want you to be you. You do what you want. And then you start doing that. And they're like, oh, not that. Don't do that. Oh, my God, that's too much. Oh, my gosh, you're saying too much. You're asking too many questions. You're too truthful. You're willing to talk to other people about things. Like, oh, my God, no. And it's like,
yeah.
I thought you said I could do what I wanted to do. I thought you said live my life.
But also, all of the people in this equation too have said it would be amazing to watch me grow up and become the person that I truly am. And here I am. Do you like it? Because it seems like you don't. Also, but I'm just confused. Why would you tell me for so long that you want to see it just so you could see it, act like it's not real?
That made me think, though, of, like, parental relations to children and, like, parents just beating their kids until they don't have any personality left, or they're not able to express themselves, or they don't know anything about their feelings, or, like, secluding them and isolating them until they're at that point. And then they're like, yeah, keep living like that because I like that. Don't be too expressive. Don't ask questions. Don't be too loud. Don't be too excited. Like, you do that the rest of your life and I love you. Like, no. That's not what we're trying to do here. Life is too short. You never know when it's going to end. So why not be yourself? Which is the point, which is what we've been saying. Like, also, Jamie was saying something and I thought of, like, people having conversations with Jamie, which is what I was saying, of, like, people being willing to meet Jamie where they're at. Like, when they're having conversations with somebody. When they're having conversations with somebody, a big thing will be like, oh my God, Jamie, why are you getting loud? And it's like, Jamie's like, I'm just loud. Like, I'm really just trying to talk to you. I'm
just loud, but also usually by that point, I've already been at the conversation calmly for about an hour.
And they're like, I'm upset. I've been saying I'm upset. Like, I'm telling you, it's affecting me, what you're saying and what you're doing and how you're perceiving me right now. Because I've already tried to tell you this thing 3 times now, the same way, in very cohesive, coherent way of communicating. And you're not picking up on it. You're very much toning into this thing you don't like, and now you're not able to see the rest of me, which is in a big way just exactly what's going on here.
Well,
they're toning in, they're seeing it through a little ball lens. They're not actually listening to the whole conversation. They're not understanding the perception which Jamie is in, the kind of way they're able to express currently, and they're like, well, you're not what I want you to be over here, even though I'm only looking through this thing. You're a massive person, you're your own world. I'm only going to look through you through this thing, and I don't like what I'm seeing, so I'm not talking to you. And it's like, people will literally
talk to me for hours on end, like Sean, and then turn around and act like I didn't just spend 3 hours being reasonable before they pushed me so far that I had to be loud and firm. Right? Like,
and it's like it's like a emotional need to express yourself. It's not like I feel like I had to do that to be like, show him who's top dog. It's like, no, like I got to my ceiling and I had to express myself that way if I was going to continue the conversation, because I've already articulated
one step closer to the edge, and I'm about to, you know the lyric. Where do you think that shit comes from? These are the same people. Sean Dowdell threatened violence on my father as a teenager. He threatened violence on me last year. Patterns are patterns. Period.
In my opinion, bully behavior is bully behavior. And also, like, again, seeing the way that unfolded with Chester, of course, Jamie's gonna feel it 10 times harder seeing, oh, wait, my dad was suffering with all these things. He's screaming in his songs about how much he's suffering. No one around him is actually helping and being a part of the resolution. They're just talking shit on him and being like, oh, that's Chester. Oh, that's that side of Chester. Like, also, we don't know what kind of help and resolution besides institutionalization was used, but
I would say
we're only talking about what we know.
The only things that I know about that situation are that guilt, shame, and force were used in handling every single one of these mental breaks that Chester had, and all these people were around for it, including Sean, Amir, Ryan, and Mike.
And now that's what's happening to Jamie.
Yep.
Like, is anybody gonna acknowledge the pattern? Is anybody gonna acknowledge who's participating in the pattern? Is anybody gonna acknowledge who's profiting off of this pattern and how they continue to profit off the pattern? Who was profiting and who now is profiting? Because there's a lot of similarities there. And the way that you're treating people while talking about mental health and talking about how much someone needs help is insane.
One of Chester's favorite things he told me was when someone screams at you to calm down. It's very confusing, and it doesn't really help at all, because when you're freaking out, you don't need someone yelling at you, telling you how fucking ridiculous you are. You need them hearing the fact that you're having an issue and you need to be heard about it. He said it's one of the funniest things in the world when someone gets hyped up and frustrated and the person who's trying to de-escalate the situation is saying, calm down, you're doing too much.
It's like, I know, I've hit that point. I said this is hard.
It's very hard
thing to perceive, to be involved with. The way you're treating me, it's not nice.
Yeah, it's not. And that's all I have to say about this.
Yeah.
I just needed to come on and say something.
I got out of work early. I'm trying to go eat some French toast.
Yeah, I want to do that.
It only has so much time left.
Let's go eat breakfast.
So this really was just about, again, expressing our feelings, being able to communicate through these things, actually having our experience out there, because so often we are shut down and people are trying to make Jamie be perceived away, and that is unfair. So just wanted to get it out there real quick. Oh, someone had been like, oh, it's so upsetting because you guys aren't answering chat questions. That's because we came on here saying, hey, we're just here to say something.
we're not here to talk.
Like, we were just here to share our feelings. It's not a thing, which...
Yeah, I saw some people say they were leaving, and I was like, well, that's okay.
It's okay.
That's not what this is. This is not a chat. This is... We're expressing, and that's it.
It's all it ever is.
But I'm happy to be here with this one, and I'm glad that we had that meditation the other day, because that was a nice reset. You know, this is not all of our life. We do not sit here and just have these problems all the time. But when they come up, it's something that has to be addressed. It's the same thing that I said to the person that I talked to Ryan about. I was like, no, it has to be addressed on some level, just because it is a consistent behavior. I've seen Ryan do similar things with me and with my father, and I've seen now in somebody else, and I'm not going into it, and I'm not making it more than what it is. I'm just saying that message was challenging, it was unfair, it was dishonest, and it was threatening, and that is harassment. That's harassment.
It felt all those things.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I feel that way.
Like, very threatening. It felt like, if you don't be quiet about me or how you feel about my tour, then this will be taken as a threat. I don't know. Anyways, I was gonna say all that, the actuality of the thing, and then how it makes us feel. There's a lot of history behind all of these things people say and are doing. How I said, like, when I met Jamie, everyone was bullying them, telling them to kill themselves, and
yeah, literally.
that happened for a long time after. And then even people who were saying they were friends with Jamie were sending Jamie texts like, oh my god, you're nobody, you're a piece of shit, you're da da da. And Jamie showed me the messages, like, I think like a year and a half ago, and I was like, girl, I've been thinking this person is your friend. They're talking to you this way. No. Why are they talking to you like that? And so, like, it's crazy to see these grown men come out and do the same thing. And, of course, I'm going to want to talk about it. There's a lot of history there. There's a lot of things that we were silent about before and would just keep to ourselves. But, honestly, why?
Why would we do that? We
don't have to do that. I'm allowed to speak on how I feel. I'm allowed to talk about my own personal experiences and my perception of that personal experience. So, we be doing that.
Yeah.
And we're hopping off so we can go get our steps.
Thank you for listening. It means a lot to us that
yes, thank you.
There are many people here listening, or at least trying.
I very much do appreciate the people who give Jamie the space, time, and understanding and compassion to let them express themselves where they're at, their perception, their understanding of their feelings and the world. And just, the world is crazy right now. We all just need to, like, support each other, give us the space to acknowledge our own realities, the way that we're perceiving them, the way that we can go about it, the way that we're able to express. Like, stop telling people to be more quiet. Stop telling people to get in shape. Da-da-da. Everyone's living the life they can, you know?
Yeah.
So
my shape is not your shape, homie. Period. It's never gonna be, because I'm not you.
Thanks for taking care of this one. When it's time. We're appreciative of our capacity to engage, and everyone else's as well. So.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you. Have a nice day. I think it's day for most of us. Bye.
Bye.